for you have the ability to access that case and say, okay, look, on this day and time, I reported this to the NIU Police Department, and this is what they advise. We advise you to fill out the IC3.gov documentation, as well as the priority would be to contact the facility out there in Florida who took the initial report, and if that person took that report and you feel like they handled it unjustly, they have supervisors, they have commanders, they have a chief of police, as well as the mayor of the city. Those were all the angles that I said would be the best case scenario, just based on jurisdiction, things taking place in that area, and what we can do and what we don't have the ability to do, being that we're here. And if the crime took place out there, they have jurisdiction for that crime out there.
Okay, and I'm just, since we're having a conversation about just throwing it out there, there's such a thing called continuous criminal enterprise, which means that that individual, especially we're talking about racketeering. Let's just say it's a conspiracy that involves more than one person. There's several people involved, and it's cross state lines. So that would be what they call a C.C.E, continuous criminal enterprise. So that would be something that would be in your jurisdiction. If that crime crossed state lines and that contraband winds up in your state or in your county per se. So how you triage it in terms of how you report it, that responsibility is incumbent on whoever I deliver the evidence to. If I have evidence, let's just say on my person, that could be useful in that investigative research that hasn't been done, that needs to be done. To me, it's a form of dereliction of responsibility and duty if you let that individual walk out with evidence and it's not being reported, whether it's to the FBI or whatever, however you triage it, the state police. But what I'm saying is, at some point, it becomes willful ignorance or a cover-up. And we know these things happen because that's why they have internal affairs investigations, right? Yeah. Because these people aren't anti-police, they're pro-police. Okay. And at times we have, just like you had your body camera on and off, I don't know what kind of, you're cutting it on. Green light usually means on, red is off. But let me just give you this information. I actually used to work for a company that makes those body cameras. So I know a little bit about, I'm not gonna say more, but I know a lot, yes. Okay. I know a lot about how they work. RCS is a company where their headquarters is in Kentucky. And I work for that company, and I know exactly how those body cameras work. Okay? So again, you're being captured time and time again. And like I said, I don't know how many times I interface with you, but
I think we've spoken once at the PD.
But I mentioned harassment, and I mentioned malfeasance.
You mean on my part or on the part of...
Well, what I'm saying is you've been less than honest and you haven't been truthful in my connections with you, is what I'm saying.
If you feel like I've done anything that either one, that you feel needs to be reported, I have a supervisor, you can contact my supervisor.
Well, this is my supervisor right here.
I got you. Hey,
right, okay.
All right, so like for me, ultimately on our end, there's protocol. It's kind of like what I told you with the situation in Florida. If you feel like that direct officer is not taking care of things, with your case, then they have a supervisor, and they have a lieutenant, and they have a commander, and that commander has a chief of police. So all of those things are what you put in place. Like, it's not a one-stop shop.
Right, I understand
that. You bring something to, be it one officer or one department, and if you feel like they're not taking care of it to the best of their ability, you have the ability to contact supervisors, state police, deputies, the county. So like the biggest thing, like I said, with your case, it definitely appears to be a lot of moving parts with that case, and if it pretty much generated in Florida, that's going to be the department that's going to have to handle it. And if you feel like that department's not handling it, you can always, like you said, contact the FBI, contact the DEA, contact the CIA. All of those are different avenues that you can go about.
Right.
And, unfortunately, when it comes down to crime and when it comes down to anything that's, happening that you feel is unjust, there's avenues you can go. Is it, you may say some places are police states and some places, are pro-police. That's one thing. But injustice is, by far, someone's gonna do something at some point in time. You know, and that's why when I said the documentation, you got the case number with us, you have the report number with us, and you stated, you know, you gave us the information that you provided.
Right.
All of that is archived. And if that's what you want to utilize, then you totally can.
Right. But like I said once before, the problem is that you have officers who I believe you guys take an oath. You guys swear in, you take an oath to protect and serve. And you're serving the community, taxpayers are paying for that. So that being said, when we start to talk about police officers who jettison those values, if not just basically move unethical, let's just say that. There's some things, there's some impropriety, like I say, there's some inconsistency and lack of continuity with how you guys are policing and how I'm being handled. I'm being handled kind of rough, and there's a cover up.
Is it? You feel like that's a?
Well, I got it. I'm capturing it. It's kind of like you go on vacation and you capture the whales. You see them come up for water. You're just looking at water at one point, but then every now and then you actually catch a whale.
Try to 54. If you can provide a location, I can meet her there. I'll meet her at EMP. I gotta make
Everything good? You okay?
Oh, yeah. I got, you know,
Okay.
a part of the work thing, so I gotta make a call. But like I said,
Okay.
you got all the information you need.
Yep.
You got case numbers and all of this stuff.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yep.